Hello and welcome back to another coffee tasting video. If it's your first time here, we are an espresso-centric channel. We deal with the original line and the virtual line of Nespresso. If that's what you came for, you have found the right channel. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell notification so you're alerted anytime we drop a new video, which is every Tuesday and on occasion a Friday. After last week's video and the week prior, it seems like you guys really keyed in on that Il Cafe. There have been piles of that stuff bought for the virtual line, not so much on the original line, which is kind of interesting. And there was a bunch of takes on what maybe was some of the differences between the virtual line and the original line. Somebody had a really interesting idea, and I think we're going to explore that in this video. So for something totally different, we're actually going to look at what's inside these pods real quick. Original line versus virtual line. So let's get that together. So what I have here is the Il Cafe for the original line and the virtual line. And somebody was wondering, like, what honestly was such a big difference, because these tasted dramatically different. The crema, as you remember, hugely different. So they were wondering, is it the grind? Is it the amount of coffee? I thought those are some good questions. So we're going to take a look inside this pod and just kind of see like what makes this tick. Wow, that is a lot more coffee than I thought would be in there. I don't know if... Interesting. There's... There is... I don't know if I can get it out. It's kind of tough to see. If you look right in the bottom, it's kind of difficult. I was trying to kind of pull it out, but you can't move it. I think it's... I don't know how they have it fixed in there, but there's like a little paper filter in the bottom of the pod. I don't think I've ever tore one of these. Well, I know I haven't tore one of these apart before. So there's a little paper filter inside the pod. Let's take a look at this one real quick. My wife's crying because this is one of her new favorite coffees. So now she's like crying that I'm destroying two of her pods. Yeah, this is way thinner paper. So it's just kind of folding almost on itself. It's almost like more of a plastic. I thought it was like aluminum, but it's got... It is like a plastic. It's like stretching. I thought that was an aluminum top, but there's definitely plastic in it. This one has nothing. It is smooth on the inside. So this is just aluminum with, I'm going to call it foil, but it's very, oh, it is plastic. I thought this was all aluminum, and it is not. This, I don't know if you can see it. There's a piece sticking up right there. That's actually clear plastic. So this is basically a foil plastic, whereas this, I think you can actually, like, and this is, yeah, this is aluminum, and this is like a foil plastic. On the amount of coffee, I think we can clearly see, well, this one's a little bit higher. There we go. That's about as uniform as I can get it, but there's clearly an amount of coffee difference. Judging the grind, they look virtually identical. So this one's the virtual line, and just kind of looking at it, it's kind of a, I don't know, like it's a pretty fine grind on it. Let's look at the original line here. You know, these are, if there is a difference, this one still to me feels a little bit finer, and I don't know why. The best thing I can determine on this is it's gonna be, I know the original line with the Creatista does develop a higher pressure than the virtual line does. I'm not exactly sure why the virtual line develops so much more crema. I think there's a slight increase in coffee, maybe by an ounce and a half of coffee, and this maybe has 2 ounces of coffee. I don't know what the difference is there, but it's pretty close. I would just say this has, I don't know, half again as much. Somewhere in there, like 30% more coffee in it than this one does. I don't know, that was an interesting experiment. I've never tore these apart. So this has a paper filter in the bottom of it. That's probably to block the extraction so that it doesn't create this. This is just literally spinning it so fast around in circles that the coffee is sticking to the edges, not requiring any filtering. So what's coming up is just the water, but the grounds are just getting plastic aluminum covering versus all aluminum. There you go. I'm not sure how conclusive that was, but it was kind of interesting to tear apart. Let's move on. Moving on to the star attraction for this week. We have, and I'm probably gonna mess this up, but I'm gonna do my best, Torta Di Nocciole. I have no idea what that flavor is, so let's take a look at what they have to say. The aromatic profile. This capsule delivers a round, smooth espresso with aromas of toasted hazelnut and sweet cereal. A scent reminiscent of freshly baked treats, sure to win your heart. Oh, that sounds nice. All right, the roasting, the beans in variations Italia, Torta Di Nocciole, are, hopefully I'm saying that right, are split roasted, preserving malted cereal notes in the Brazilian coffee and releasing the finer aromatics of the Colombian beans. A fine grind adds a bit of intensity to the blend. Again, we got some artificially flavored stuff going on here. Let's see what they say. Round and smooth, roastiness 3, acidity 3, bitterness 3, body 3, pretty much everything's a 3. And what do they say? We are to do it as an espresso 1.35 ounces. All right, I think I'm just gonna refer to it as torta from now on because I'm probably just messing up the second half of that. So let's take a look at the pod here. I don't know, almost like a teal green and then gold on the bottom, or I mean gold lines. So this is another one where you have the kind of the teal green with the gold lines on it, labeled variations Italia on the bottom. So if you do not remember what this was and it ends up in the bottom of your drawer, you're gonna be kind of stuck for what the heck it is. Toasted hazelnut, sweet cereal, and baked treats. Torta, let's go brew a shot. Torta, round 1. Let's get this going. I'm gonna leave it on the espresso setting. All right, this guy's done. Couldn't really smell anything while it was brewing. Ooh. It's got a very pleasant smell. It's got a sweet smell to it. Almost has like a sweet smell of like a pastry or something, I think. Interesting. Well, let's go give it a taste. I I came back over and I'm like, oh yeah, it did say freshly baked treats. So maybe that's why it smelled like a pastry. So let me get a little bit of the crema folded back in here. Yeah, because it did have a very distinct kind of a, I don't know, almost like a donut smell to it. So, Torta, espresso setting, let's give it a taste. Definitely smells sweeter than it tastes. It's got a little bit of an interesting afterbite. The second taste kind of throwing me off because let me taste it one more time before I say it. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, and that aftertaste now. The first taste had a little bit of a, wow, that's interesting. A little bit of a, I'll say a little bit of a bitter aftertaste to it. They talk about toasted hazelnut, sweet cereal. I think the smell is that way. The taste, not so much. And the second taste, when I started tasting something, and then that third taste just to kind of confirm it, it almost has, I don't know if you've ever had it. If you have, you're gonna know exactly what I'm tasting. It tastes like a light or a watered down version of a wheatgrass shot. If you've had that, that's kind of the flavor coming through, is like a wheatgrass shot. Yeah, it's a wheatgrass shot with like some kind of like a light, almost like a light nut flavor maybe. Yeah, that's odd tasting, very uniquely different taste to it. Real quick, I just had my wife try it. Her first taste, she made a face like this. Her second taste, she's like, ugh, it's bitter. Yeah, it's got a bitter taste, and to me, it tastes like a watered down wheatgrass shot, kind of like that wheatgrass stuff that you, if they put it into a juice, you can just always taste it, that kind of thing. Kind of like if somebody uses, oh, garlic's so good. Yeah, garlic's good until there's too much. And then the only thing you taste is garlic. That's kind of how wheatgrass is for me. That's kind of the flavor coming through with just a little bit of a aftertaste of nut flavor. But that bitter is it's pretty strong. I think they said bitterness 3. I think because the acidity is 3 and the bitterness is 3, I think it's raising the overall level of this. I'm trying to think of where to go with this next. I'm kind of tempted maybe. I'm not sure if this is gonna make any difference. It did last week with doing a ristretto. It really changed the profile of the coffee. So I'm gonna try that with this one and see if maybe it lightens up a little bit that flavor and maybe brings it out. So this is the Torta round 2 ristretto setting. That's actually better. It's got a little bit of the sweet back. it still has just, it's that weird aftertaste. I don't know what that is. It's just a bitter, sour, acidic, bizarre aftertaste. It's better than the espresso, but that bar wasn't very high, so boy, I think it warrants it. Ooh, man, that aftertaste, that really, really lingers. I think it warrants at least trying it with some milk and possibly some sugar to try to balance out this sour. So let's go round 3. Let's go brew another shot. All right, I'm gonna go round 3. The Torta, I've gone back to the espresso setting. So we're gonna let that guy finish. I'm then gonna take an 1.5 ounces of milk. So we just have kind of a 50-50 mix on it. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the sugar in right now because I think we're gonna run out of space a little bit. So I'm gonna add 1 pump of sweetener into it. That's quite a bit for this, but I think it's gonna need it. All right, now we're gonna go over to the milk frothing setting. We're just gonna do that on ideal temp, normal frothing. All right, our milk is done. Add in what I can here for this guy. Well, that was it. All right, wow. I need to get like slightly larger ones. Let's go give this a taste. All right. I don't know that I just want to make sure it was blended well enough. All right, so we have the Torta in the espresso setting, 1.5 ounces of milk, 1 full pump of sugar. Let's give it a taste. It's okay. The sour is balanced out a little bit better with the sugar being added to it. I think I probably could have gotten away with just a hair less sweetener, but it's about the right amount to get rid of that really, really strong aftertaste. This is okay. It would be acceptable. Yeah, it just, well, let's take a look at what they're doing here. Nespresso exclusives, variations, Italia, Torta Di Nocciole, flavor, 80 cents a pod. We always have to go back to what was it originally intended for, and that was basically as an espresso. No. As a ristretto, it was better, but that's like saying this really failed and this only sort of failed. With the 1.5 ounces of milk and the pump of sweetener, it was okay. It was okay. There wasn't anything remarkable about it. At least that weird wheatgrass taste is gone. It just has kind of just an average espresso taste to it. I just think, I don't know what they were going for, but for my palate, this is a miss on all marks. It's sour, it's acidy, and normally, I mean, you know me, if you've watched these videos, I love bitter. I don't like this bitter. This bitter it's bad bitter. I guess there's good bitter, bad bitter. This is a bad bitter. I'm not impressed with that bitter flavor that they brought through. So for this one, I'm gonna go with pass and 2 out of 5 pods. I almost feel like giving it a 1. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna change it. This one really was unpleasant. This is a pass, 1 out of 5 pods. I really don't know what you're gonna do with this or what flavor profile you're looking for that this is gonna fill in. So there we go, final verdict. Pass, 1 out of 5 pods. Well, you can't win them all. That'll bring us to a close of this video. I thank you so much for your time. If you have something you'd like to see, providing it's with the Nespresso brand, Virtua or Original line, drop that down in the comments. I'll do my best to get it out. And speaking of comments, a lot of you requested to see the blended drink from my wife. I promise you, she's just behind the camera shaking her head. No. She was wanting to do it later. We will get that out to you as quickly as we can. It's gonna take some convincing. You're gonna have to go easy on her. It's gonna be her very first time actually doing anything on camera that in a official capacity. For all of my patrons, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of this channel. For your direct support, it means the world. And if I've earned your patronage today, head on over to patreon.com/IPON70 and support the channel that way. You can start for as little as $1 a month if you'd like. Anything helps. It's all appreciated, and you can take part of the voting. There will be, in the month of December, a patron-only contest. So that will be only for the patrons. That contest is coming in December. I'm ironing out how exactly I want it to work. Also, speaking of contests, was there a hidden word in this video? I don't know. You'll have to go back and look, see if there was anything there that doesn't fit. If you do need the contest rules, that's a rolling contest, any video, any month, head on over to NespressoReview.com. You can see our page there. It's got the back catalog of our media, the patron links, all of that stuff, contest rules, and previous winners. Until next Tuesday, have a great rest of your day.